Good morning, Morgan, and good morning to any of Morgan's friends that have joined us for today's video. Which reminds me, today's video is video number 43. And even though it says manual string formatting, it looks like we're working with integers today, and we're using a variety of methods that you can use on I guess, these strings. All right, so let's go ahead and start reading the manual, and then take it from there.
Python Training Video 43. Manual String Formatting. Here's the same table of squares and cubes, formatted manually. For x in range 1, 11. Print, repr, x, dot.
All right. So there you go. Let's see, and then I guess it's supposed to give this kind of an output. All right, so we're printing this, then this, then this, and then we're putting an end. And that's what the output's supposed to look like. Okay, so this code will create this. All right, and we'll see that when we go run the code, because I've gone ahead and created a script with all this these example codes in here.
Note that the one space between each column was added by the way print works. It always adds spaces between its arguments. The strjust method of string objects right justifies a string in a field of a given width by padding it with spaces on the left. There are similar methods strjust and strcenter. These methods do not write anything, they just return a new string. If the input string is too long, they don't truncate it, but return it unchanged. This will mess up your column layout, but that's usually better than the alternative, which would be lying about a value. If you really want truncation, you can always add a slice operation, as an x.just n. There's another method, strsfill.
Okay, remember all those methods that you saw in the last video? They're starting to dive into some of these a little bit, but the bottom line is they're not covering all the data. I just want you to understand that, we're looking at another 4 or 5 methods here that they think are going to be useful to you. But just remember, man, there's something you need to do. There's a method for it. You just need to go hunt for it. Anyway, let's get this reading done and run some code.
There's another method, strsfill, which pads a numeric string on the left with zeros. It understands about plus and minus signs. 12 dots fill.
All right. Now, referring back to the last video, there was 40, 50, 60 methods in that table. Could you imagine how long this video would be if we had to run through an example of all 60 of those? Okay, so yeah, I hope that you get something out of this video, but it is incomplete, and it has to be because there's just too much information. You're going to have to learn how to find these methods that aren't used a lot, and you're going to have to learn how to figure out how to use them by reading the manual. And guess what? You will. And the more you do it, the easier it'll get. Anyway, with that, let's run some code, and then let's look at some output, and then you can go outside and play. All right, let's do this. All right, and we're in the code. And as you can see, most of the code is just me putting in print statements so that the output looks nice and easy to understand, so that we can go through them. Anyway, these are these functions here. I'm not going to sit there and go into describing them at all because there's just too much. And we're just going to run them, and we'll go through this and see what happens. Ta-da! Let's do it. All right. Looks like it ran successfully. Let's go take a look at the output. And here we are in the output. All right. So, yep. So, it goes ahead and it ran that loop, and it created these print outputs where they printed out 3 different variables. This is what the output was supposed to look like. This is what the output was. We have a couple of things up there where it talks about whether, hey, I need to put a decimal point in how many freaking times to the right, blah, blah, blah. Do I show a positive? Right. That's what all those functions did. Look, they were successful. All right. So that finishes today's video. If you don't think that you got a lot out of this one, don't worry about it. You actually did. You just don't realize it yet, because what's going to happen is you're going to get exposed to these methods again, and then you'll go like, I've seen this before. You'll go back, and the process of remembering will reinforce everything. Plus, when you apply it to the code that you're writing, it'll doubly reinforce it. So yeah. So don't be upset if you don't think you got anything out of this video. You actually did. You just don't realize it yet. Anyway, go out and try not to get in too much trouble. Don't run over anybody with that one-reeler. Anyway, that said, go out and have some fun. We'll see you in the next video.